Yo, so what's going on, Battlefielders? My name is Pone, and this is a routine checkup with you guys. You guys saw the Recon, understanding the Recon video I put up a few days ago, and that was part 1. Part 2, I'd like to elaborate a little bit more, show you a little bit more about the MAV, talk about the Soflam briefly, but more importantly, I wanted to actually demonstrate and show you guys the importance of the MAV, so on and so forth. As you can tell right there, I flew that in, got a good idea, saw 3 enemies on the objective, and I left the MAV there, leaving it as a portable, transportable, which means you're not in danger. It's a motion sensor. Wherever I drop it, I have eyes on that situation, because not only can I ever trigger into it to look at it again in the future, but I have that there showing the rest of my team that, hey, there's enemies nearby. At that point, it is a motion sensor. I could fly that into one heavily populated area, drop it in there, and hopefully it doesn't get shot. Now, do I recommend it in a lot of situations? No. On more of the larger maps with widespread areas, where it's not too distracting, you get in those tight, close quarter situations with the MAV, and you can't just pop it up for 5 seconds because people tend to shoot at it. It's kind of big and bulky and kind of out there. So I don't, suggest it for a lot of situations. You're playing on Operation Metro. The standard motion sensor, or the tugs, is a lot easier to hide, behind a doorway or in a bush or something like that. That's why I generally prefer that. But if you have a wide open area, you can fly that above the head, get good eyes on people, let go of it. Just hit E, exit out of it, it'll sink down to the ground, and you have a motion sensor right on top of an objective or something. So it's a great way to get eyes on the objective, let your people know that what the surroundings are, and in turn, you never jeopardized any tickets. Good little tip for you guys. Let's talk about the Soflam real quick. I like the Soflam. Soflam is a great piece of equipment. I think it's a little bit more valuable in Conquest. When you're playing Rush, it's kind of meh-meh. Only a handful of the maps, that especially some of the least popular maps, are played. Generally you have, send crossing, something, so on and so forth, which, mines and RPGs tend to do the trick. I don't really see too much of a thrive or need or value behind Soflam in many of the Rush maps, though it is a great piece of equipment. I definitely say it's very, very underused. One thing I would like to let you guys know is I don't recommend, and it sounds weird, and it's because I don't think enough people are prepared for people to put Soflams up on the regular. It's very, very hard to get paired up with the right people to lock onto the right piece of armor. I'm playing with randoms, and many times I've been able to put up a Soflam, and they've done nothing with it. It's generally one of those pieces of equipment that if you're working with a teammate that has engineer and is capable of cooperating and working with that Soflam, then you've got a deadly combination. A lot of times I find my randoms being unreliable and not having the equipment to suit with it. Javelin, so on and so forth. So, that's my thought on the Soflam. I left that out on the last video intentionally to let you guys know about it. I speak highly of it, but at the same time, I think it's situational, and it's not near as valuable in Rush as I would like it to be. There's not near enough armor in most of the maps that are popularly played. But another thing I want to push on to, one thing that I told you guys about was about aggressive gameplay and pushing as the Recon. The objective of the Recon is to be able to allow your teammates to parachute in, unless you're on a map like this. Therefore, the only time the Recon could be valuable is if you're able to flank and get behind the enemy. If you can put down the portable uterus in a prime location, you have a personal spawn point for your squad to get in there and do what they need to do. Now, another thing you're noticing is I am taking use of the M417, which is the weapon that I recommend. The SKS is slightly understated compared to this one. You have to compensate for the recoil. The recoil on those two weapons are entirely different. The M417 has a lot of vertical recoil. It's got a lot of hop on it. So basically, the first shot needs to count. If it's not a headshot, aim low. I'm talking like genital region. You want to get the torso shot, so you're going to have to keep aiming lower than what your mind would make you think. I know you're used to aiming for the body and head, but when you start shooting, especially, rapid fire with the 417, not going to work. So that is my medium to long range weapon of choice for you guys. Like I said, bolt actions should be a no-no with suppression and so many other factors in there, slow rate of fire, and you can't get really, really close with the enemy. That's something I would recommend you guys to use. Now, you've seen most of the equipment. There's many a times you're going to see me use the MAV and put down the beacon and everything like that. Right here's a perfect example. This one really does make a difference for me. I just stand in this doorway, pop this little floating little device out here, and I notice that there's 2 guys on top of that. I notice our armor's coming up, and nobody's doing anything about that. They're funneled there. I check the street, making use of this. There we go. Spent about, 8-10 seconds inside of this. Nothing in the alleyway. Looks like we have banana covered. So the only thing vulnerable right now, the only thing anybody's going to defuse this, because we have the doorway locked down, is if the 2 or 3 guys that are up on top of this are there. So it's my job to lock that down. Had I known they were there? No, not without the MAV. So it's always a smart move to do that. If anything, spot the enemy, get some assists. It's a good piece of equipment. Now, you're going to see me kit switch a lot in this game. Like I said, the aggressive playstyle is important, especially if you're using a long-range rifle. The biggest thing you guys can teach you guys, and I want this to become contagious. I want this to be spread like a wildfire Battlefield STD. I want you guys to start kit swapping with your handy dandy equipment. I want you guys to make sure to switch it out. If you got the Recon in 417 and now we're moving into the next set of MCOMs, 417 isn't that big a deal. You got the long street, but they have the advantage. They have the cover. They have the reason for you to come to them. So this is where you switch it up. You switch your weapons out, maybe get Recon, maybe get some M16. You never know what you're going to get. But pay attention to that, and also pay attention to the ammo capacity. A lot of times you'll pick up a gun, it's only got like 9 bullets in it. Kind of cancerous, but you got what you got. So, you know, like I said, a Recon can be played many ways. I encourage the aggressive Recon, and generally that has a false title to it. Many people think aggressive Recon, and you think, you know, some crazy Sergeant Enigma montage. And instead, you know, it's just getting closer, putting the MAV down, scouting for your team, putting the portable spawn point somewhere in a safe, secure location behind the enemy, and you just made an entire difference to your team. Not enough people play it like that. And I know the weapons are underpowered for it. You do have the P90, you have the MP7, you have a couple other weapons that may work for you depending on your playstyle. And again, you have things like the 417 that actually can drop shots, get one-shot headshots, and do some damage. So with that being said, I do like to remind you guys to try this loadout a little bit more, try to find what you can, and urge the weapon swap. The biggest thing I could teach you guys, if you can actually just seriously, confidently, appreciate your skills, use the MP7, put down your stuff, get in there, get a kill, pick up an M16, you're good to go. You got health packs and revive the rest of your team, but you also still have your previous equipment out there. It's dangerous, guys. It's straight dangerous. So that's my thoughts. That's my encouragement. Hopefully you guys value this. And thank you guys for watching. I think we'll be doing support here in the next couple days. And I'd really appreciate you guys to drop a like rating on the video. Sharing it and all that stuff's really, really appreciated. I want some support on the Battlefield videos. Hope you guys have a great day. Get out there and smack some hoes.